The outdoor industry seems to hate cartridge innovation. You can change bullets, rifles, clothing, we can update optics, we can update all kinds of stuff, but do not dare change the shape of the brass. Good morning, evening, or afternoon, everybody. Today, we have a really fun video. Welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute since I did one of these. It is spring in Arizona. This is one of our last few nights before the absolute madness of summertime ensues. But without further ado, let's jump into our topic. As many of you have seen, I'm sure, the outdoor industry just seems to absolutely hate new cartridges in general. For whatever reason, I honestly find this kind of weird myself, but I also understand it to some degree. A big part of the reason I think I understand both sides is there's a lot of individual use cases, right? It's really important to break down your use case to just what they really are. If you're shooting deer at 100 to 200 yards max, then there's no reason to upgrade from something like a 308 unless you just want to, right? But in terms of terminal effectiveness, it's not going to make that much of a difference, right? If you want to shoot an elk at 1,000 yards, now we're not here to debate whether that's ethical or whatever, I'm just breaking down the different use cases. Then some of the newer stuff definitely has some really, really big advantages. Is this going to be a rifle that you shoot a box a year at most if you draw a tag or buy a tag or whatever? Or are you going to go out all the time, shoot steel and rocks and whatever at really, really extended distances? Because that can make a big difference too, right? There's so many different use cases that people have for a rifle, right? How are you going to use the rifle? Because you might be right, the new stuff may be stupid. It may make absolutely no sense. It might be perfect though. The two things can be true at the same time. I constantly hear people who shoot, let's use a 7 mag, okay? Obviously, there's been a lot of newer 7s lately, okay? There's been the 7 Backcountry, 7 PRC, blah, blah, blah. Two big ones that have a big marketing push, things like that. I constantly hear those guys saying, you know, oh, there's no real benefits. It's all hocus pocus. It's just the latest, greatest, and they're trying to take your money, right? I'm like, okay, how did you start shooting a 7 mag? Oh, well, my dad gave me his, and he shot one forever. All right, well, when did your dad buy his, you know? Oh, well, he's had it since like the 60s, you know? Okay, well, 30-06 was around in the 60s, right? So what led him to the 7 mag? Oh, well, you know, when it came out, it was a lot faster and better ballistic coefficients and better downrange performance, right? It's like, all right, so what you're telling me is that your dad, he bought the latest, greatest thing of his day, but now he's giving us a hard time for buying the latest, greatest things of our day. Another thing I constantly hear is that these companies are just lining their pockets. They're just printing cash by selling you guys this new stuff, right? Well, duh, that's kind of the point, right? I have a secret for you guys. Don't know if you guys know this, but if there weren't salespeople and people buying things, none of us would have a job, right? It doesn't really matter what you do. People need to buy things for any of us to be employed, for the vast majority of Americans, okay? And it doesn't matter what you do. If you're a professor at a college, kids come visit the school and you're trying to sell them on buying an education at your school. If you're a pilot, the airlines or the private company or whatever, they're trying to sell people tickets so they fly, right? If you're a warehouse worker, there has to be people buying the shit that you make in order for you to have anything to make, okay? So obviously, they're gonna sell you stuff. That's the whole point of a company. Funny enough, I even saw a commercial for the Band-Aid brand today, okay? I saw a Band-Aid commercial. Of course they're trying to sell you stuff. That's how we all pay our bills. The other thing, guys, the new stuff does have benefits, right? Again, it depends on your use case. And just kind of how you are with rifles in general, right? If you're going to get with a gunsmith and you hand load and you do custom dies and whatever, obviously you could have done a lot of this stuff a long time ago. Where the big benefits are is for the guy buying a rifle off the shelf, by picking up a box of ammo. There are benefits to it, right? It doesn't really matter what it is. Again, whether they're benefits to your individual use case or not is a different story. But a lot of these new cartridges do what they say they do, right? Like, as much hate as the 6.5 Creed gets from a hunting perspective, when you really break down what it was designed to be in general, it does exactly what it was designed to do really well. Obviously, there's been some extenuating individuals online that have made a lot of people hate that cartridge, but at the end of the day, it was designed to be a low recoil, highly efficient, shoot heavy for caliber bullets really accurately out to really long ranges for target shooting. It does that phenomenally. It does much better than an off-the-shelf factory ammo 260 Remington, a 308. It does much better than those in that particular use. It also works fine for hunting in a similar use case as a 243 or a 7mm08 or a 308 or a 260 or whatever, you know, anything in its class. It does fine. It's not lightning in a bottle for hunting, but it wasn't designed to be a lightning in a bottle hunting cartridge. The other thing, nobody's forcing you to buy them. It's not like they're strapping you down to your chair and you must go buy a 7 PRC or a 7 backcountry, right? You can stick with whatever you have and be perfectly fine. Absolutely. It's not like anyone's telling you that now that the 7 backcountry's out, your 7 mag is just going to bounce off the elk next time you shoot them, right? That's not the case. We all know that's not the case. So it's just one of those things that, like I say, there are benefits to them, but make sure they're benefits for you. If they're not benefits for you, then there's maybe not a reason on paper, but maybe you just want a new rifle. And there's a lot of cool stuff, right? Like the guy that wants to run a short barrel suppressed, run something like a 7 and have similar performance to his old 7 mag, the backcountry's a good choice. It checks all of those boxes. If you're not that guy, then who cares? And one of the last things, guys, if Hornady, Remington, Federal, Nosler, pick the company, didn't come up with new stuff, they wouldn't be in business. Because I hate to break it to you, but selling boxes of 270 and 30-06 aren't keeping the lights on at Hornady, right? It's the new stuff that's keeping the lights going, so they can keep making the old stuff so we can all purchase it. Right, at the end of the day, we want these companies to be in business because we use their stuff, okay? So if they come out with something new that maybe isn't a benefit to you, there's no reason to be so upset with them. Of course they're going to try to sell it to you. Every automotive company tries to sell you their new thing all the time. Band-Aid's trying to have commercials now. I mean, to act like these guys are somehow extra bad guys because they market their new product is so weird. It's so weird. I don't understand why everybody's so angry that these companies try to sell you on their stuff. I don't get it. But that's gonna pretty much wrap up the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe. We're over halfway to 1,000. That would be awesome if we could make some extra money from these videos. I enjoy making them. I just don't have a ton of time, obviously. So making a few extra bucks would be really helpful. But like I say, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.